What is up YouTube? It's your boy hyper.combo.comics, and on this video we're going to be going over two topics. So first being the small lot that I picked up via Facebook Marketplace through a local seller. I'll go through each and every one of the books and explain the significance, and yeah, so that's the first order of business. Second order of business is, and I am based on the comments that I've been seeing on my IG posts, I think this is what most of you are probably tuning in for. It'll be my first ever, I guess you could say, mini rant on my YouTube channel. This one also is regarding another Facebook's seller, regarding a deal that never materialized for multiple reasons, and I'll go through that when we get to that topic. So, but yeah, first thing first, let's go through these books that I picked up. Now, I honestly really picked up this lot for one particular book, which I'll highlight at the very end. But the seller had a good deal on this. I went to see these books in person. The conditions like I said, all the conditions on these books were great except for that last issue. But it is also a notable first appearance, so that's why I kind of let that slide. And like I said, the seller had a good deal, so I jumped on the price and yeah, picked these up. So let's not waste any time and let's get right to it. First up, we have Spider-Man #1 from 1990. This is the Todd McFarlane series. I know I mean, look, I know this series has been overprinted, but still, you can't deny that this is still a pretty timeless cover by McFarlane. And there was obviously multiple variations of this cover. This is the gold, I guess you could call it the gold and green variant. And then we also have the silver variant. Well, I don't think that's a variant. I think that actually might be the regular cover. The silver cover. And then also the gold second print. This one I know goes for some change. It is a bit, I guess, between the other two, it is a bit more scarcer maybe, but yeah, this one does go for a bit more than the other two that I just mentioned. There is a platinum version. I don't have that one, unfortunately, and I'm pretty sure if the seller did put that in the lot, he probably would have, the price definitely would have reflected it in that lot. But yeah, happy to have those three in the PC. Next up, and this is a book I already have in the PC, and I think this is like my second or third copy. Web of Spider-Man #1. Nice clean copy, and I mentioned this on multiple channels how I find this book to be very underrated as far as Spider-Man issues are concerned. And look, if you're actually a new collector in this hobby and Spider-Man is your guy, this definitely is a book that you can easily add to start up your Spider-Man collection. A decent copy of this book shouldn't go for more than 20-30 bucks, I would imagine, raw. So honestly, a solid book to add to the PC, and a dope cover by Charles Vess. Alright, this one I do also have a copy as well, but my copy is of lower grade than the one than this one. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man #1. I think the only significant thing about this book is it is the premiere issue of the second ongoing Spider-Man series, so that's pretty cool. And it is, and like I mentioned, like the other books before, this one is in really high grade. So you know, whenever you can get a Bronze Age Spidey in high grade, I'll definitely take it. So yeah. And then I don't know if you guys, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're catching on that there is a bit of a theme right now to this lot. It's mainly Spider-Man books, and this book next is no different. We have Spidey #1, also from the Bronze Age. This one was, I guess you could say, a crossover between Marvel Comics and Electric Company. The Electric Company, for those that don't know, was a television show in the 70s that was geared towards mainly children, in the same vein like Sesame Street. So for that reason, these stories in these issues were not meant to be taken as canon, but more for geared towards younger audience. That's why you even see the tagline, easy to read adventures of Spider-Man. So yeah, so these were made mainly for a younger demographic that Marvel was trying to bring in. I know that this book did take off at one point a year or two ago because uh, like within the issues in this page, within the pages in this issue, there was a character, a black character that was wearing a Spider-Man outfit, and I guess people ran with it, and I don't know if people were thinking that's Miles Morales or something of that sort, but it basically led to this book spiking. But again, it was just a case of um, speculation, I guess, gone bad. But this book is still, especially in hype grade, this book is still has some good value to it. And again, it is another number one Spider-Man issue. So yeah, happy to have this in the PC. And now, so this is the last book in the lot. And like I mentioned, this is the next book that I'm gonna, or the last book that I'm gonna show is of lower grade compared to everything else, but it is a notable first appearance in the Spider-Man universe, and that is Amazing Spider-Man 194. Oh, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 194. First appearance of Felicia Hardy, aka the Black Cat. Now, I'm not sure if the camera picks it up very well. There is a bit of wear on this cover, but it still presents fairly well. Staples are intact. Pages aren't missing. There's no chunks or pieces missing in this issue. So yeah, I would say that conservatively, this probably might be grading around a 3.0-ish range. But the thing is, like when it comes to books from Silver and Bronze Age era, especially when it comes to like major first appearances, I'm not a stickler for high grades as long like for me the criteria is as long as the cover is still presentable and it's still intact. There's no chunks or pieces missing. The pages are all there. Staples are intact. Then I'm generally going to be a buyer, especially at the right price. And this seller definitely gave a pretty good price for this whole lot. If I was to convert this in USD, I believe I paid around 180 for the entire lot that you see right here. So definitely happy to have this, and it's my first time owning an issue of ASM 194. So yeah, yeah, this was a pretty cool pickup. All right, the second aspect of this video is the little mini rant that I alluded to before. So this is regarding another seller that I dealt with last week over on Facebook as well. And this deal did not materialize, and I'll actually go through some of the reasons why. So this seller basically he posted some X-Men a lot and some She-Hulk a lot on his page, and he had them for some really good prices. So I hit him up and I said, listen, are these available? I'm interested. He hit me up the following day saying, yes, they are. Do you want them? And I'm like, yes, I do. So I basically told him the list of issues that I wanted. We got to talking, and midway through the conversation, this is where the first red flag happened. He hit me with I made a mistake on some of my X-Men books. And this is what he actually said, I actually have to go on eBay and look for the last sold prices, and I'm gonna have to give you some revised prices on some of the X-Men issues. Now look, I have no issues with sellers doing their due diligence in terms of how they want to price their books. Because look, uh, we all want to make sure that our books are fairly priced and we're not taken advantage of. And that's why you kind of look at various last sold prices to kind of get a gauge on what your book should be priced at, so that it's not only a good deal for you but also for the buyer as well. So no issue with him wanting to do his research. But here's the thing. You should be doing that before you post your books online, and especially before you start getting into an actual conversation with a prospective buyer, and you're at the point of price of close to finalizing a deal. Because at that point, when you start hitting them with I gotta revise my prices, you're already losing credibility as a seller, and it already builds and like in my case it already started building a bit of distrust between me and this seller. But you know what, I figure, okay, let me give him the benefit of the doubt. and I'm like, all right, do your thing, go revise your prices. And he hit me with the revised prices. I think an hour or two later, and of course, based on that, I had to restructure what issues I wanted from this lot because keep in mind, I had a certain budget I had in mind in terms of what I wanted to pick from his lot, and now with these revised prices, I had to kind of switch things up a bit. But he still had some good decent priced books on hand, despite all the revisions he made. And I'm like, all right, cool. Here's my revised list, and he was okay with it. But then he hit me with the other. Oh, I have to also revise the She-Hulk price because that's also a mistake too. You didn't think that maybe when you were revising your X-Men books, that maybe you should also revise the other books as well? Like, why are you kind of doing these in drips? It's almost like that's like a pretty dumb thing to do. I mean, you couldn't have just revised everything in one shot because now I gotta revise my list again. And again, all right. At this point, even I'm questioning why I'm still dealing with this dude. I think maybe, a in my sense, maybe subconsciously, I wanted this deal to go through because I've already invested so much in terms of my time and communication with this guy that maybe it kind of overshadowed my better judgment, so to say. And he still had some good price books, despite two instances of having revised costs. So I still went through the list and I gave him yet again another revised list of books that I'd take from him. So we got, we spoke a bit further. And then up until this point, we haven't gotten to the discussion of condition of the book for now because the books that he posted on his Facebook they were in lots, so he didn't really give a lot of close-up pictures of the books themselves. So I couldn't really get a gauge on the actual conditions of the books. So I asked him point blank, "How are the conditions?" And he told me the X-Men books are excellent. He, I'm gonna be honest, my BS meter went off when he said that because here's the thing: up until this point, he already made two revisions on the prices of his books because clearly he didn't know what he had on hand. And I think what must have happened was, and I've seen this happen with a lot of sellers. They'll post some books with some initial prices, and clearly they probably got their inboxes flooded with messages from prospective buyers, and then they realized, oh shoot, I underpriced my books. I got to revise it. But like I said, at that point, you're already building a bit of distress when you do stuff like that. So he already kind of established, at least to me, that he clearly is not very well versed in the comic space, and I think he must have been one of those dudes that either probably picked up the slot um, in a flea market, or he may have bought a storage locker that had these books, or an estate sale, or something of that sort. Or maybe he collected comics a while back and he fell off the hobby, and he hasn't been in touch in terms of what's going on in the hobby as of late. So when someone who's not been who's not been in tune with the hobby, when they use words like excellent and perfect, I take that with a massive grain of salt because excellent to someone who's just a casual observer or someone who's not really in the hobby versus someone who's been collecting for a while. Excellent can mean two different things. Like for me, sorry, for him, excellent could just be if the books, if the pages are intact, and if the staples are there. He might not even account for how sharp the corners are, if there's any color breaking ticks, if the colors on the covers are still vibrant. To him, maybe that's not really a factor for him for what he considers excellence. So it could be very subjective when you start using words like that. But regardless, I was still going to ask for pictures anyway. So I hit him with, "Hey, do you actually have pictures of some of the books?" And I asked him for some of the more notable books in the lot, just so I can, obviously get a gauge of the books, because he does live a ways off from my location. So rather than going all the way there and being disappointed, I figured let me see the books, let me see some of the pictures of the books so I can make a judgment call right then and there. So then he told me that the books aren't with him; they're at his parents' place, so he actually has to go there to pick up the books and get the pictures. Okay, so the books aren't with you, but you're able to make claims that they're excellent and all that. I don't know. To me, that doesn't jive. Like what? Again, if you're gonna be making claims on conditions of the books and all that, I would like to see the books in front of me when I'm making these claims. The fact that he didn't have these books on hand and he's just throwing out these words, again, BS meter was already going off. So I gave him the chance to basically go to his parents and to get the pictures of the books of the issues that I requested, and he showed me the pictures the following day. And yeah, sure enough, these were far from excellent. Um, and the thing is, I I'm pretty sure he was also well aware that he may have oversold on some of on what he was saying, because he basically put a disclaimer while he was sending me the pictures that this X-Men issue had some tears on the back, and then this X-Men issue had a loose staple, and by loose staple he meant it's detached. Like from the picture, I can see that it was detached from from one part of the cover. But he said that the She-Hulk books are near perfect. Right? I think that's what he said, perfect or near perfect. But yeah, so that was his definition of excellence. So I mean, look, if for him, if excellent means that your books are complete dog shit,
Hadouken!
your books were definitely excellent. They were supremely excellent. So okay, at this point, we're already on thin ice at this point, because, like I said, he already did the revised prices twice. He didn't have the books on hand when he was making these claims, and clearly the pictures um, show that he definitely oversold on his books. But this is where this is the straw that basically broke the camel's back for me. He he hit me with the, oh, by the way, 15 of like the 30 or so issues that I asked for, he already sold them. We were talking for 2 days, and he didn't think between those during that 2 days to kind of disclose to me that um, he sold those issues. This is what actually this is what worried me. Had I not asked for those pictures, I'm wondering if he would have only realized he sold those issues once I got to his location, because it seems like he only got this revelation once I requested for the pictures, and I guess when he realized those issues weren't there that he could take pictures of, he must have, the light bulb must have went off, being like, oh crap, I sold these issues. So I guess you could say I almost dodged a bullet in that sense, because at least I was aware that those issues weren't going to be in that lot, and I didn't have to find out on the drive there. And then he had the gall to basically he gave me a revised price with all those missing issues, and he didn't even bother, like, um, apologizing or anything like that. He just said, like, oh, so these are the revised issues, and they gave me the revised prices. At that point, I didn't even respond. I didn't respond because, look, generally when it comes to dealing with sellers on marketplace or Kijiji or whatever, usually when something doesn't pan out, I'll still give the courtesy to the seller that, letting them know, hey, look, I'm not interested, but thanks anyways. With this dude, I was fed up with his nonsense that I just walked away. I didn't even bother talking to this dude. Um, yeah, it was just a sour experience all around, and I don't know what else. And the thing is, I did actually go back to his page just to see if any of those books moves, and it didn't. I mean, I'm not surprised, because with the amount of business etiquette or lack thereof that he possessed, I'm not surprised that he's having trouble moving these issues on hand. But yeah, look, this is. I guess I'll chalk this up as a learning experience. And look, I guess the other silver lining is when one door closes, the other door opens. Because I walked away from this deal, I was able to jump on another opportunity and basically grab this ASM 194. So there's that. But there's, from this little arc of a story, I guess there's a couple of takeaways that you can take from this as a seller, especially. One, if you're gonna post books online for sale, do your research before you post the books for sale, not after, because at that point, especially when um, you have a prospective buyer that's in communication with you with those books, if you start hitting them with the I gotta revise, and especially if you start saying like I gotta revise my prices because I now have to look at revised last sold eBay prices, that really does not. That's really a definite red flag for a lot of people, including me. Like at that point, you already kind of broken the trust as a seller because clearly you don't do enough of your due diligence to do these things before you post the ads. So it already shows your lack of confidence at that point. Takeaway number two: don't oversell your books that you're planning on selling. Now, we may have a high opinion on some of the stuff that we have on hand, but when you start using extreme words like perfect, excellent, you're already setting a high expectation with the buyer, and there's a good chance that that buyer probably will get disappointed once you actually show them the actual pictures of the books. So honestly, you're better off being erring on the side of on the conservative side when it comes to grading your books, and and the surefire way of basically removing all doubts is just showing the pictures when the consumer has. That's what I do. When people ask me like how are the conditions of the books, I'll usually just show pictures and then explain, because once I start hitting them with the it's perfect, it's excellent, then you're putting the cart before the horse, and then once I see the pictures, it doesn't match what your description is, and then again, it goes back to the whole building trust with the seller, right? So yeah, just be careful in terms of how you grade your books. Uh, yeah, so that's take number two. Take number three, and I figured this would be common sense. Uh, know what you have on hand. It's kind of dumb when you start posting ads for books that you've already sold, and especially when you only find out 3 days or 2 days after communications with a buyer that you just already sold those books. I get it, we make mistakes and all that, but usually when you're that deep into the transaction, you would think that you should have a good handle on what you have on hand. So yeah, so definitely know your inventory as a seller. But yeah, look, you can't do anything but learn from these experiences and then move on. I don't know what else to say. I dealt with a complete moron. And I am holding my punches a bit because I do want to keep this very PG, but yeah, it's what else can you say? But you just have to move on from these kind of experiences. Um, and look, I also want to just give a special shout out to a dude in the community, Paperweight Collects, who actually he's the one that actually he posted a rant on his own little rant on his IG. He doesn't have a YouTube presence, but he has an IG page. I'll put his information in the description below. Paperweight Collects. It was actually from his little rant video that I actually got inspired to do my own. So definitely a shout out to Paperweight Collects on that. But yeah, honestly, that's it, guys. In terms of this video, I thank you all for sticking with me this far in. And yeah, listen, if you have any comments or feedback on what I shared, definitely hit me up in the comments and let me know what your thoughts are. And till then, definitely hit that like and subscribe if you're so inclined to do so. But till next time, guys, if you're too broke to buy comics, visit your local library. What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Hyper.combo.comics, and on this video we're going to be going over two topics on hand. So the first one being the small comic lot that I picked up today. Hadouken! I actually showed it. Alright, take two. What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Hyper.combo.comics, and on this video we're going to go be